Are you a fan of pro wrestling, comedy, and combat sports? Then we have the podcast for you because we cover that and much, much more.
Do you like to debate with your friends? Do we have the perfect segment for you? It's the 531, where we take any given subject, break it down to a top 5. From there, we debate it down to 3, and then into that number 1 spot.
If you want to get a hold of us, find us on our social medias. Search Working Fans Podcast on any major social media platform. And if you want to find the podcast, search for us on any major podcast platform, as well as YouTube.
Working Fans Podcast. We put in the work so you don't have to. Hi guys, we're back. This is Working Fans Podcast with our Brewcast number 2. How you guys doing today?
Good.
Yeah, man.
All right, so
Just before Christmas, so we're in that spirit here.
I like to have to get up right in your face.
Yeah.
You guys are like Lennon and McCartney on that mic. Like I'm expecting a little get back.
All right, so today we're going to be drinking a few beers from Tree House. So Tree House is located in Charlton, Massachusetts. It's considered to be amongst the best breweries in the United States, including public beer rating sites like Untappd, which had actually just got #1 brewery for 2021, and Beer Advocate, as well as sites for including Forbes, the Boston Globe, and Thrillist. Yeah. So it was founded in 2011, and the brewery is originally located in Brimfield, Massachusetts. Then it moved to Monson, Massachusetts in 2013 before a multi-million-dollar project landed them at their current site in 2017. So Treehouse is a non-distributing brewery, which means that you have to go to the brewery to buy their beers. But given its popularity, there's usually long lines there. Matter of fact, I'll tell you a little story about the first time I went there. I just went, didn't look at the list or anything like that, and it was very poorly timed. It happened to be their 1,000th batch release, and I had to wait in line for 3 hours in February.
Oof.
It was worth it though. It is a very great place. So
Yeah, and I'm a novice too, obviously, and I've heard of the Treehouse like plenty of times.
yeah. So the first beer we're going to get into is called Restless. It's a Weizenbach.
Are you a fan of Restless? Inside joke, guys.
Can I get the front of that can again? Sorry, I started late. Boom. Look at that. All right, this is good to go.
Shit's going on our TikTok. Check
All
it
right,
out.
so let's pour it out.
Oh man, you're getting that good sound of the pour too.
I was thinking that too. Yeah, that's a good pour. Raw video, folks. I don't have that soundboard to cover up my cough too.
Coughing you on, man. Look at that. That's a nice dark looking beer. Almost looks like a cola in there.
All right, so this is Treehouse's write up for their beer, Restless, which is a Weizenbach. So expertly crafted, Restless is a rich, traditional, and delicious beer. To make it, we combine wheat, a complex assortment of German specialty malts, and noble hops before fermenting it at the hands of a traditional top fermenting Weiss yeast. It is then re-fermented in the can to produce a velvety texture that would otherwise be impossible to achieve, combing the best elements of a traditional Doppelbock and Weiss beer. It carries rich malt complexity and character with notes of brown bread, molten toffee, dark fruit, and mild yeasty phenols. So, what are you guys smelling?
Kind of reminds me of like a Guinness.
Yeah, it's got that look. It's got that heavy smell.
Bready, yeasty smell.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
Let's drink some yeast.
so Weizen in German it is for wheat, and Bach is what they used to refer to as a stronger beer. So most German style beers are between like 3% and 5%. So a Bach style beer would be higher.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the ABV is on this one.
It's like 8.5, I want to say. It's on the front of the can.
Is it? Oh yeah, 8.2%. So that's pretty high.
Kind of reminds me of a Killian's. You remember Killian's back in that? Kind of reminds me of that a little bit.
Yeah, that traditional style. It has noble hops are referred to as they're old style traditional hops that come from Germany, and they produce like a earthy, like kind of flavor.
Yeah.
The malt is really good in this though. It's like they said that dark like toffee and dark fruit and bread.
Dark.
It's definitely, it seems like a winter beer, like a heavier beer.
Yeah, that's definitely like, be good for sitting by the fireplace or whatever. And it pairs with like chicken and dumplings or like banana bread.
Yeah. I could see this with like a nice beef stew.
That's what I want right now.
That would be very
Can we get
good.
some beef stew up in this motherfucker?
So, Tree House is known for their IPAs, double IPAs, all their hazy beers for sure. But they do these traditional styles very, very well. When I went to the brewery to pick these up, they actually have a separate bar where you can get all their like older style beers at specifically.
Wow. Yeah, I find when you get away from almost the typical beers like your Budweisers, your Coors, things like that, and you get to like beers like this, you get like that more full flavor. And I think that's where beer gets a little more interesting. Excuse me. What gives it that richer flavor compared to like a Budweiser? Is it what they put in it?
Yeah, that'd be the grist. So the grist is all the malts that they put in the beer. So the reason that the beer is dark, so they use wheat, which is a light grain, but they toast it, which it gives it that darker color
burn it
and
up
flavor.
a little bit.
Yeah. So you guys want to move on to the next one?
Yeah. That's interesting though. It's true. And you might have said this already. I'm on 3 hours sleep here, so forgive me. But Tree House is pretty much open all year round too, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the artwork on that.
Yeah, they actually have great artwork. This comes from a holiday seasonal lineup that they have. So this beer is called All I Want for Christmas is Juice. Yeah.
All right.
So we'll pour it out here.
I think I know what.
This will be Scott from Ballantown's favorite beer.
I was going to say.
He loves that Mariah Carey song so much.
Oh, yeah.
When this goes up on TikTok, I know exactly what
You know the song,
music I'm
man.
using.
All right, so talking about Spider-Man spoilers. Just kidding.
No, don't do it. We'll get canceled or something.
Yeah. Get your ass kicked for that shit.
You hear John Pollock complaining about that the last week or so on like some of his extras, and like you run that risk when you do a podcast. You want to stay current and things like that, but then you run the risk of like, I can't believe you spoiled that when.
Right. That's why I was joking, because obviously we're doing a beer cast today. It's like people aren't tuning in and expect us to spoil like Marvel movies. Like, hold up! Guess what happens?
So I smelled that. I get a nice citrus scent off of it.
All right, I'll read the write-up for you here. So,
absolutely.
All I Want for Christmas is Juice is an American double IPA brewed with a fruit-forward blend of American hops, along with authentic Japanese Sobacha tea paired with vanilla chamomile tea. Sobacha tea is made from roasted buckwheat grown in Hokkaido, Japan, without pesticides or chemicals. So it pours a hazy orange in the glass. It carries notes of orange jam, guava soft candy, a hint of vanilla chamomile, and a pervasive and pleasant nutty undertone from the Sobacha tea edition.
Speaking of nutty undertones, what are you tasting there, Dave?
It does smell like orangey jam to me, kind of, but you definitely can smell like the.
It has more of a citrus scent than it has a taste.
Yeah,
it's got a definite IPA taste, but like you smell those fruits in there.
Yeah, like when you first when it first goes into your mouth, you definitely get the like orange juice kind of thing, and then I feel like the finish, you can taste that like earthy tea, herbally tea kind of thing.
It's
Big fan of double IPAs, aren't you, Dave?
No, it's not bad. But it's probably not my go-to. I was almost gonna say it reminds me. I have a hard time of actually comparing to any other beer I had, honestly. It almost reminds me of like a Sam Adams kind of beer, but it also that's really reaching. Like I can't think of anything this actually in terms of beer I've had that this reminds me of.
I'm trying to even think because I've had different beers that I think have had like Citra hops in it. Captain Lawrence makes a Citra Dream. I think I tried. I don't know if I've had a beer that smells like a juice, but when you drink it, it drinks like an IPA.
Yeah, so
and it's that tropical juice smell that I like.
That's the thing you get from American hops is the tropical juice with like grapefruit or citrusy like peels, like almost the peels or the pith. Yeah.
I like some tropical music in my head now. Like,
you listen to Island Boys?
The Island Boys.
Dave's sitting on the dock of the bay.
Watching the time.
All right, so you're not a big fan of double IPA, so let's drink another one, Dave.
There you go.
This one's going to be called Jolly Juice.
Sign me up, son.
This is what Dave's going to be drinking when he's putting the kids to bed on Christmas Eve.
So be giving them a little sleep.
He's just kidding. He wouldn't give kids alcohol.
Yeah.
He ain't,
jokes.
he ain't
not
no,
since the 70s.
He ain't no Grizzly Smith.
Just kidding.
It's got coming out of the can, it's got the same look as the last one. A little more of a head, it looks like.
It's not as powering, the smell.
All right, so I'll read the
Hold
write-up
on.
here.
Let's get the alcohol content on that second one. I don't think we did.
Oh, yeah, well, it's not on the can, so.
Oh, shit. They fucked
I
it.
think it's 8.1, though. All of these are over 8%. So I think that one was 8.1.
They don't play around at Tree House.
This Jolly Juice is 8.2.
Ooh.
No, they don't. All those double IPAs, that means there's a lot of malt. And if there's a lot of malt, that means there's a lot of sugar. If there's a lot of sugar, that means there's a lot of alcohol. So Jolly Juice. Following
you
on
got the Mr. Wizard of beer over here.
Following on the wonderfully successful Jingle Juice, which is another beer they do Christmas time, Jolly Juice is also brewed utilizing a intriguing ingredient paired with an onslaught of hops.
Wait, what's the ingredient? They ain't telling us.
Oh, they're going to tell you. So by steeping dried osmosis flour, that's definitely not how that's pronounced.
Oh, we should have had Dave.
I've only ever read. I've never heard.
That's osmanthus.
Osmanthus. Okay.
Yeah.
They got the osmosis flow.
Yeah. So they add that flour in the wort during every phase of the process. We are able to extract incredible stone fruit-like character from this marvelous and mysterious ingredient. Mysterious to all of us who don't even know how to pronounce it.
Dave, name 3 stone fruits. Go.
Stone fruits. Wasn't there like a star kiwi or something like that? Is that a stone fruit?
I think star fruit would be
fruit. There you go.
You're thinking more like your peaches, anything with
cherries.
a pit in it.
Yeah,
cherries.
Oh yeah, star fruit was one though. Yeah.
No, that doesn't have a pit.
I don't think that has a pit.
Doesn't have pit in it?
No, that's
that
what
little green thing.
that's what them little island boys eat.
Island boys.
All right, so what do you smell different between this beer and the last beer?
There's not like
It's not an overpowering smell to it.
there's a hint of fruit.
Definitely less. I agree.
The last one had an overpowering fruit smell. This one, I can kind of smell it, but I don't know if it's because the beer was in the glass like right before this. It's got a good smell. It doesn't smell intimidating.
It looks about the same.
Yeah.
It's yellow, hazy, very hazy. You can't see through it at all.
It's almost, and this is probably maybe not complimentary, but, and I don't mean it in a bad way, but it's almost like
It tastes like gasoline.
kind of like a flat version of what we just had a little bit, like not quite as strong.
Maybe it doesn't have the more
pop.
like expressive things in there. Like it's got a similar taste, but it's not as bold.
I don't know why. Everything sounds so pretentious. So a little bit sometimes. Like,
Maybe that last beer just burned your palate out a little bit.
it might have. It might have. It's got a lot of explosive taste to it.
Well, I'm trying to think of a way to say it because maybe it's not as flat. I'm trying to find the right words to say that.
Osmosis.
The last beer had more like, there was more pop to the taste. It was more like, you could feel it more. This is more subtle.
I clearly didn't get enough sleep last night. This is gonna fuck me up. I'm going to my girlfriend's nursing graduation later.
Yeah, congrats, Jen.
Yeah,
Woo!
gotcha.
Cheers.
See your parents later on. Hey, what's up, bitches? Osmosis. Drink up.
So I didn't say it before, but both of these beers would pair with rich cheeses or like a carrot cake, like a dessert.
Yeah, you got a nice Gruyere over there.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man! I could eat some cheese right now.
Yeah, you got that feta, you got that smoked Gouda,
Smoked.
that horseradish cheddar.
I don't like horseradish cheddar.
Oh,
Horseradish cheddar is the shit.
I'm all about that horseradish.
As long as you don't get like too powerful a piece and it like burns you up. Like I like that nice subtle taste.
I did not like it at all when I had it. I was not a fan.
All right. So speaking of what you liked, Joe, let's hear it. Let's get your personal recommendation and rating for Restless, our Weizenbach.
For Restless, I got to give it a 3. I like a nice heavy
out of 5
beer.
stars.
Out of 5. I like a nice heavy beer. This I feel like 2 would have you good on like a winter night because it's almost like it's too heavy to have too many.
They all are. They're all definitely high ABV.
That second one, the Jolly Juice.
We'll do that.
Oh,
we'll do that
good
after.
call.
Let's
Yep,
go
I'm
to
doing the
yeah.
AJ rule.
What do
Yeah.
you think about Restless?
Restless was actually my favorite out of the bunch.
That
I'll
was
give it.
your beer of the
Yeah,
list.
if I had to pick one to drink for this, it'd be Restless. I give it 3.5. Again, I'm gonna be stingy about my rating system, but
What about it was better than the other ones? Like, what made that
it
your
was
personal
more
favorite?
as
More
Chevy
accessible.
said last time. It's more of a beer's beer for me.
Okay.
Like, the other ones were a little more. The second one was a little more too fruity for my liking. Now, it wasn't bad, but just a little too fruity. And then the last one, I don't know. It's just a unique flavor, and it was fine. I could drink it, but it really wasn't. Well, you know,
Chevy, what's your rating on the first one?
So, well, I have a question for Dave. Is
Sure.
it the like hot burn that you get from double IPAs, like the bitterness that you don't really enjoy? So you enjoy the like malty sweetness, maybe. Well, we're gonna learn going forward in this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, this one was probably sweeter. I thought the second one.
Yeah,
So-
I think you're right. I think you're right because I think the tea maybe for the all I want for Christmas is juice. Maybe like give it that earthy.
Interesting you say that because I don't really drink any tea for most of my life, and it did provide a unique taste that I wasn't necessarily a huge fan of, and maybe it was the tea.
All right, so Restless. Yeah, well, so
3.5.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I thought I haven't had a lot of Weizenbachs.
Yeah, I think that might be my first Weizenbach that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
I've had like a Hefeweizen.
Yeah, most wheat beers I've had are lighter and lower ABV for sure. So I thought the malt character was very nice in that, and like drinking that next to the fire out by the fireplace and like in the fall time maybe that would be really nice.
By the fireplace.
Going with some beef stew like you guys said, I think
Yeah.
that'd be really good. I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars too.
3.5 stars. I love it.
So
Nice.
Maybe you have your significant other on a mat.
yeah.
Bearskin. All right.
So, let's move on to the all I want for Christmas is juice. Well, what are you giving that one, Joe?
That to me was a 4. I liked the smell right off the bat that drew me in. And even though it's a heavier beer, like that doesn't scare me away necessarily. So that is something like I would definitely seek out and try.
So I'll tell you what. You said something interesting there. You like the smell a little better. I actually did like the smell a little better. So if we were rating just the smell, that's about a 4. That was my favorite smell.
I'm gonna be right back.
Yeah, get out of here. That's it. But as far as like goes, like with drinking, I'm gonna go a 3, maybe a 2.75 in between them. I don't know.
This is the highest rated brewery in the world, just so everyone knows. Highest rated brewery in the world. Dave's giving it 2.75.
I'm a novice, you know. He brought in a rookie, and I think I was. Where's the last place we went to? Some of the last places.
So we had Fox Farm beers.
Yes.
They're another one that should be pretty high rated. They're just small, so that was another one.
I enjoyed those more, honestly. Yeah.
You know, I agree with you.
Yeah, and I mean, to me, it's just kind of like, again, it's not even really necessarily a total reflection on the brewery because it could just be the random beers. I'm picking this randomly. So I just remember, I think you called one of them a beer flavored beer the last time and stuff like that, and that's
a shout out to my father-in-law Don James. That's his go-to line: beer flavored beer.
Stuff, Don. I think that I guess what I'm learning is that I'm more of a beer guy, like a straight beer kind of guy. Now, maybe the more we do this, my palate might get a little more complex.
Guarantee it.
Yeah.
Okay. So what did you give that?
Overall,
2.75?
Overall, I'm gonna go 2.75.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go the opposite route. I'm gonna say that's a 4.75 for me.
Okay. Wow.
I don't think I've ever had a beer with buckwheat in it, let alone Japanese buckwheat from Hokkaido. I thought that added a really nice earthy flavor, like I said at the end, which I have never tasted really in a beer. Tree House cannot miss with double IPAs as far as I'm concerned. Every single one is hazy juice bomb, and they're fantastic, all of them. I'll make sure that I bring some more, and I'm gonna find one that you like, Dave.
Okay.
We're gonna get Dave into those heavier beers.
Yeah. So
I mean, I think it's okay. So let me throw this out there for you, though. I've had plenty of Guinnesses. I've had plenty of Black and Tans. Those are all really heavy beers, though, right?
Yeah.
That's a whole different style, though.
Right.
You say heavy beer, but that's a nitro beer. So instead of having carbon dioxide in those beers, you notice how when they pour a Guinness, the bubbles fall down instead of rising up. That's because they add nitrous oxide into the beer instead of carbon dioxide. So it gives it a different texture. And it's they're smaller bubbles, so it's velvety.
Okay.
So it's makes it creamy almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm down with the creamy.
Good with a beef stew, Guinness beef stew.
Perfect.
Guinness beef stew.
Perfect. There's no beer that's better with a beef stew than that. So
yeah.
What did you think about the Jolly Juice, Joe?
The Jolly Juice, I liked it a little less than the second one. So I would give that a 3.75. I still thought it was good, but the second one was clearly my favorite of the day. I definitely like the second one better. It's so close though, because they're similar type beers, but I just like the smell on the second one.
A lot of the beers from Tree House are very similar. It's just a little, tweaking, and you just, as Dave develops his palate, he'll realize those little.
He'll be like, "What? They put passion
differences."
fruit and almonds in there?"
Yeah, exactly. What do you think of Jolly Juice?
The opposite of Joe. This experience progressively went down for me. I started off with about a 3, went to a 2.75, and then I'm going with a 2.5. Best brewery in the world, absolutely. Might not. Maybe I'm just, I got that poor man's taste. You're taking me to sophisticated. I'm like, ain't you guys got no ripple?
Well, if you are a fan of regular beers, sometimes it takes a little bit to get into these. I wasn't a fan of the dark beers at first. And then I noticed a lot of the times in the winters it came around in the mix packs.
Right.
So I would learn to like the chocolate box or the chocolate stouts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these are the styles of beers that you work your way up to, I guess. I mean, not everyone. Some people enjoy those right off the bat.
Yeah, you got to walk before you run.
Yeah, she went right to the double IPAs and everything. So.
I gotta tell you, so I remember back in the day, I wasn't a big drinker. And I kind of started drinking, I think Coronas of all beers one day.
Boone's Farm, right?
It was just super hot, and someone kept giving me some Coronas. And I'm like, yeah. But then, I started going to Black and Tans. I started doing Guinness and stuff like that. Heavier beers would get full almost, but I was used to drinking that. But then again, I don't drink a lot, and it's been years since I really, drank any type of beer other than probably the cheap shit.
Yeah.
So maybe I've gotten a little bit away from it. But they're all good.
It's an acquired taste too, to really appreciate it. Because otherwise you're like, oh, wow, that's strong. And it's it is strong, but there are waves of flavor in there. And there's different notes to it. Almost like how people talk about wine. I got raspberries in my nose.
Yeah. it's important to have someone like Dave on a podcast like this because he represents most people's palates. So if you don't want to go to Treehouse, I mean, their beers are not cheap. So if you don't want to make a trip to Treehouse to buy a $20 4-pack for something you don't like, so
yeah,
Dave's point is valid.
Watch me graduate from a natty ice guy to a double IPA guy as this podcast continues.
So for the most part, I agreed with you guys as far as the Jolly Juice. I thought that the All I Want for Christmas is Juice was better. The Jolly Juice was good. It was very good. Definitely all those tropical flavors, orange juice. I'm going to give that one a 4, I think.
So, did your wife have any of these ever?
Yeah.
Guys? And what did she think? What was her favorite out of these?
She hasn't tried the Jolly Juice yet, but of the other two, the Restless and the All I Want for Christmas, she liked the All I Want for Christmas.
So I am in the minority here with that so far of our group. I like the Restless.
Yeah. So,
well, all right. Now, last week we had a surprise beer. I left in don't shut us down, Dave.
I'm not.
Oh, I got you. You said it. Don't cut me off. But so I forgot this week's surprise beer. So we're gonna cover last week's. I broke out the Two Roads Little Heaven, 4.8 ABV. It's a session IPA in a can made with 3 exotic hops: the Azaka, Mosaic, and Equinox hops.
Azaka, is that red fruit?
Taste is of tropical fruit, specifically passion fruit, grapefruit, and apricots. Finishes with just enough toasted malt character to balance. On beeradvocate.com, it was ranked 3,808 in IPA Americans with an 87 score, ranked 21,991. I thought it was a little better than that. I've never picked up on the tropical fruits in it.
Yeah, you get that definitely from the Mosaic hops for sure. The Azeka or whatever.
Azaka
hops. Those are I haven't had a lot of beers. Those are ones that aren't used super often for sure.
And what about the Equinox hops? Like, what makes each of these hops different?
So they all have a different flavor profiled, and they also impart different levels of bitterness. I would have to look at. I have a giant chart on my wall in my man cave, if you want to call it that. But the Mosaic ones are super popular in all the hazy IPAs because they give you tropical fruit flavors for sure. They're the most used, I would say. That one and Citra are probably the most used hops in all these American double IPAs.
Nice. How about next time we record, we have you get a little bit into hops, maybe the differences between them, and we'll profile a different beer.
That sounds good.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us for another Brewcast, and we will see you next time.
Later.